Hey, Aaron, congratulations, first of all, on the promotion. You've been here before, you've been in this position before, and I wondered what you feel like you've learned since your last stint as offensive coordinator, now as you take over again as an offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, you learn 100 new things every year. I mean, it's like too many to count. I was talking to a coach yesterday at another school, and just about how much you evolve from year to year. So it's kind of hard to put my finger on, one or two things, but I think the important thing is that I do take very seriously the responsibility to continue to try to improve as a coach every year the same way that we ask our players to. And I think it's important that they see their coaches working just as hard to evolve and improve. And sometimes that's schematic things, and sometimes it's just, maybe finding a new way to connect with a player that needs it. So it's kind of a broad answer, but yeah.
All right, let's take a question from Pat Kinahan, Jay Drew, and Jason Shepard. Pat, you there? I think you're muted.
Hold on.
There you go.
Come on, man. Get your technology straight.
Very rare that I'm muted. I got to say that.
Welcome nonetheless.
Mute yourself, Jay. You've been working with quarterbacks a lot in recent years. How will this change at all with this different responsibility?
Not much. Yeah, my role will pretty much be the same as it's been with the quarterbacks, and our whole offensive staff plan to keep everybody's responsibilities and positions intact. So, and we've been playing well on offense, and we're in a good rhythm right now as a staff. And we were fortunate that Grimy, we had 6 coaches on offense, so Grimy was able to just sort of be a roamer, and some days he was coaching, helping with the O-line, some days he was helping with the tight ends, some days he was helping with the running backs. He was all over the field. So we'll miss that for sure, but as far as each individual coach's responsibilities go, I plan on keeping those the same.
Aaron, will you make any wholesale changes to the offense? I don't suppose you will, but I just wanted to ask. And then also, will you have a name for it? Does it have a name under Grimy?
No, it doesn't have a name yet. I'll try if I can one up Grimy's RVO. I'll try, but I haven't pulled that off yet. But in all seriousness, I do believe in the same things that Jeff preached about, being reliable and being physical. And so that's one thing those are characteristics that we should be able to have every year in this program. And so we've tried to lean on the fact that we coach kids that are reliable and kids that we've got some size and some physicality on this team, and we need to use it. And so that part will not change. Our offense, I don't plan on our offense changing very much, if at all. There's little tweaks every year to try to stay one step ahead of your opponents. So, we might add or delete, make minor additions or deletions just based on who our personnel might be, or if we just think there's something that we're missing that can maybe help us have an advantage over a tough schedule that's coming up. But I would anticipate our offense being very, very similar, and that's part of the reason I think why we have a chance to be good is we do have a system in place now. This will be our 4th year with the same system. Many of our players are 2, 3, and even 4-year starters now. And so the idea would be that we can just keep rolling and keep trying to improve, but not having to reinvent everything.
And then with Zach moving on, now that it's official, how would you handicap the quarterback race coming up in the fall?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard decision for sure. I think you have to, you always have to start with who we've seen play in a game before. So I think it would be fair to start with Jaron and Baylor because we've seen those guys play, and when they played, they both played well. So we've seen Baylor more than Jaron, but I think obviously Baylor played really well a couple years ago and got some big wins for us, and this year, he got in quite a bit this year. Just Zach had such a good season, it was overshadowed. But when Baylor played this year, he was very efficient and played well. And then, of course, when Jaron played a couple years ago, briefly showed some really exciting flashes of what he's capable of. He's an excellent passer, very accurate thrower with a lot of ability to be a good player. He's had some bad luck with injuries, but we expect him to be fully healthy for spring ball. And then we have two young quarterbacks on scholarship right now in Soljay Mayava and Jacob Conover, who are both very highly recruited and really good players. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I can't make any predictions right now, but we will make sure each one of those guys gets an opportunity to show what they can do.
Aaron, I wanted to go back to something that you had talked about just a second ago in terms of the overall offense. Obviously, coming off the type of offensive performance that we saw this past season, what excites you most about the way the offense is trending? Realizing that personnel is going to be a little different, but the way that the offense as a whole is trending, what excites you most about that?
Well, it starts with our ability to block people. That's, I think, something I haven't heard anybody mention. I haven't read everything that people write and stuff, but I think one of the most fascinating parts of our bowl game was James Empey wasn't able to play. He's everybody knows what a good player he is. He's been a 3-year starter and team captain, just an awesome player. Well, he can't play, so Joe Tukuafu steps in. We don't skip a beat. Then Joe Tukuafu gets injured, and Connor Pay comes in, and we just keep rolling. And I don't know if anybody even noticed that we were down to our third center while we were going up and down the field. And so it starts with that. We have good offensive linemen in this program, and anytime you can hold up on the line of scrimmage, you have a chance. And if you can't block people, you got no shot. And so that's what excites me the most, is that I have a lot of confidence that we are going to continue to play well on the line of scrimmage against whoever we play. And we should, it starts there, and then we just got to make the other pieces fit around that and make sure we make good use of our skill players.
All right, let's go with Mitch Harper, Jake Hatch, and Sean Walker.
Yeah, Coach, who are some of the individuals that in your coaching career that have maybe helped shape your play calling style as an offensive coordinator, and individuals that have been mentors to you during your career?
Oh, man, there are so many. It started with just being a graduate assistant here for Lavelle. Obviously Coach Chow, all the great offensive coaches that were here back in those days, Lance Reynolds and Robbie Bosco, and those guys were, BYU offense that the old BYU offense is where it all started for me, and a lot of the stuff we're doing now is still straight out of that offense. I mean, we threw a little mesh crossing route 8 times a game or more, and it was a really good play in the Central Florida game, and that was a play that we were running when I was a player here, and I learned it from those guys. So, and you turn on college football on Saturdays, and you're seeing a whole bunch of teams do it now, and it starts there, and obviously, Robert and I was a big one for me. He was the offensive coordinator at Ricks College when I was a player, and he really did a lot for me as a player, and I've always admired the success he's had in coaching. And I had big breaks in my career, from Gary Anderson to obviously Kyle Whittingham hired me at the U. Those are all mentors I look up to and really respect. And then offensively, Andy Ludwig had a huge impact on me early in my coaching career. Andy's a guy that's been good at a lot of different schools with a lot of different styles of offense, but what I learned most from him was just attention to detail, the administrative part of the job, just trusting your assistants, handing out responsibilities, just so many things. Really great experience working with him. And then each year I watch the best offenses around, and I study those offenses, and I try to learn and take bits and pieces. I've been doing that my whole career, and some of the best plays we ran this year were just straight rip off of other teams. We scored in the Houston game, a little underhanded red zone play to Mason Wake. We stole it straight from the Chiefs, and the name of the play was Chiefs. And tribute to Coach Reed. It was, those things are fun, and so we're going to try to be aggressive on offense, and we're going to try to, I'll take ideas from anywhere I see them, but we have a good system in place right now that doesn't need a lot of tweaking. But those are just a few of my influences. I've probably forgotten a bunch of others, but been fortunate to work with a lot of good coaches over the years, and you learn from all of them. And the other one I would say is Jeff Grimes. I learned a lot from Jeff. He's an excellent coach, and he had a vision of what he wanted us to look like here. And initially, it didn't quite shape up the way he, I think, maybe had in mind. And what I really learned from him was he was willing to adapt. Hey, this is what we wanted to do. This is what we have to work with, and now we got to adapt. And we did that, and we got better each year. And it was really fun to work with him and see, just the way that he got our team to play with physicality and toughness and confidence, and I'm going to miss him.
Aaron, I wanted to ask you, now you make the move to offensive coordinator. Can you explain to people out there who may not know what a passing game coordinator does exactly?
Yeah, well, it varies. In some programs it's just a title and doesn't matter. But here, again, credit to Coach Grimes. He gives out responsibilities amongst the staff and trusts each guy on the staff to do his job, and then we get back together and meet, and whoever's in charge of that area of the offense leads the way. And so, just as an example, and during the season, Fessie's the third down guy, and so every week he presents to us his plan for third downs. And we talk about it, and everybody has a chance to have input. And, of course, ultimately Grimey had the final say, but he trusted Fessie each week to be in charge of third downs. And I was red zone, and Eric Mateos was, goal line or short yardage, and, Harvey and Steve had their areas, and everybody has their responsibilities, and you trust those guys to do their job, and then everybody has a chance to contribute, but that's the lead guy. And so Fessie will step into that role, and he'll sort of have the lead on ideas in the passing game if we want to do anything new, if we want to, anything needs to be fixed. He'll take the lead on that, and I have tons of confidence in him that he's ready for that. We pretty much think with the same brain anyway when it comes to the passing game. I've been coaching him since Southern Utah when he was a freshman, so.
Sean Walker.
I almost pulled a PK there. Forgot to unmute myself. Sorry about that, Coach. Also love you, Pat. But Coach, I think you kind of answered this for the most part, but maybe I can ask it a little bit of a different way and just kind of see if you have kind of any ideas or thoughts or input on that. But because of the nature of the promotions, it does leave you guys with the ability to go out and hire another coach. Do you think that's something that could be used on the offensive side of the ball? Do you have kind of any thoughts, or will you have any input? I guess that's probably ultimately a Kalani question, but yeah. Will you sort of have any input or any say on that? Do you kind of see that direction going forward, or?
That'll be Kalani's decision. I will say that, 6 on offense, 4 on defense is not super common. So I think the hire could go either way. And if we get a 6th coach, great. If we don't, we've got more than got it covered. And also want to mention we have a really good other staff members in the room that don't always get recognition. You know, we have an analyst and graduate assistants that do a great job, and so we've been working together now for a few years, and I think if we get one more coach, that'd be fantastic. And if Kalani decides that position is better suited for defense, then I'm fine with that too. It's about winning as a team.
All right, Norma Gonzalez and Matt Baiamonte.
Hey, Rod. So unrelated to sort of the new position of yours, I'm working on a story on Zach Wilson, and I know we've sort of talked about it relentlessly throughout the season, but I kind of want to get more of an expanded version from you. Just sort of what went on to really get him to be part of a three-way quarterback battle to then having this breakout season that he had and now being potentially a very high-risk first rounder in the NFL draft.
Well, I think the answer to that is, I hope this answer isn't too boring, but it was really just his, relentless work ethic of just getting a little better every day. I mean, it sounds, I wish I had a more exciting answer for you, but Zach just literally just works at it every day. That's all he does. He's football 24/7. And, his improvement this year was just the accumulation of reps that have piled up over 3 years of playing in games, over 3 years of just throwing the ball millions of times to his receivers, all the drill work he does, everything, he takes really good care of himself, other than the fact that he's kind of cheap and sometimes he eats crappy food. But other than that, it was just working at it and never stopping and never feeling like he's arrived. He's just, and that's why I think he's going to continue to be great. He's still far from his ceiling. He's got so much ability and he works so hard at it and he's never satisfied. So I think, who knows how good he can end up being someday.
And I was just going to follow up with sort of what you expect him to become as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put unfair, make an unfair prediction, and that league is really, really tough. I actually, little story, I recruited Sam Darnold in high school and got really close to getting him to come to Utah, and his dad just texted me the other day and congratulated me on a great season and congratulated me about the success Zach had. And it was really nice, and we just got in a little conversation about how that's a tough league, and I still wouldn't be surprised at all if Sam Darnold ends up being a really good quarterback someday. But a lot goes into success in the NFL, so it's hard to predict. But I think that Zach will end up being a good pro because of the things I just mentioned. He's very level-headed. He's always working to get better. When he got criticized, he handled it very well, and he takes coaching, and I just think he's a guy that'll just steadily keep getting a little better and a little better and a little better, and his ceiling is so high that I think he has what it takes to be very successful in the NFL.
Coach, we've seen the offense evolve over the past couple of years, and then 2020, top 10 passing offense, really explosive offense, a lot of big plays. How much of that do you think was due to the personnel, and how much of that is what you want BYU football to be offensively going forward?
Well, it is what I want BYU football to be. I would love to be a top 10 passing offense all the time, and that's easier said than done. And we know we're going to play some really good defenses this year, so we got our work cut out for us. But I think the answer to the first part of your question, the success of this year, again, this is kind of a boring answer, but it was just it was a 3-year process of just trying to get a little better each week, each season, trying to push the ball down the field a little more. You saw us in the first year just trying to take care of the football and not turn it over and stay in the game, hang around and see if we could get to the fourth quarter and have a chance to win. That was kind of year one. Then you saw us last year get a little more aggressive, especially in the second half of the season. We start throwing the ball down the field a little more. And then this year we just had a lot of confidence that our players know the system. We have good players. The execution of the 11 is going to be good, and now it's time to let it rip and be aggressive. And so that's it. I want to be an aggressive team. We want to be an aggressive program, and so the mentality of attacking for 4 quarters with the pedal down and throwing the ball down the field is going to be, we're a wide zone team that throws the ball down the field a lot, and that's we're going to continue to have that personality. How aggressive we play will depend a lot on who we have available and what weapons we have, but I think we have a lot of good players coming back, and I'm excited. And the plan is to take another step forward regardless of who's on the schedule.
Jared Boyd.
Aaron, we've talked a lot of philosophy, and I just wanted to go back just for a second. Yesterday was a pretty eventful day on our end. I was wondering what the last few days were like for you as kind of everything shook out. I imagine it was probably a longer process than just the 12 hours basically of the official announcements yesterday. But what was it like just going through the process of getting to this point?
Yeah, this time of year is pretty wild for coaches. Season ends and there's always coaching movement. You hear about the big moves, you hear about Steve Sarkisian going to Texas and those types of things, but then there's always the trickle down of just dozens of assistant coaches playing musical chairs, and so your phones, you're getting this text and this call or that call about this job and that job and everything, and that's how the profession goes. But I really, really love coaching here, and I wasn't really involved in any of that or entertaining going anywhere or anything like that. I was just enjoying my holiday and just sort of staying up on kind of the coaching gossip that goes around. But yesterday morning was when I heard about Coach Grimes, so I didn't hear about it much earlier than any of you, and I was really excited for him to have the chance to go home. Basically, he and his wife both are going to be close to their families, and so I was happy for him, but I didn't hear about it much earlier than you guys did. And then shortly after that, I got a call from Kalani, and didn't take long to make this happen.
All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.